Well, Pingtan prepares to boost visitor numbers. China's first international tourism island, Hainan, remains a perennial favorite. Each year, huge numbers of tourists from across the country and beyond come to soak up the sunshine and enjoy the delights of China's answer to Hawaii.
This is Sanya, the jewel in the crown of China's tropical island paradise, Hainan. Every year, tens of millions of visitors come to this island, but most of them are Chinese. And for the majority of foreigners, Hainan and Sanya remain something of a mystery. Local tourism authorities hope all that is about to change. Stunning coastlines, luxury resorts and a tropical climate. This is Hainan, China's southernmost province and a playground for the rich and rising middle class. A staggering 50 million tourists come here every year, but there's trouble in paradise. Foreign faces are few and far between at a time when China is banking on a wave of inbound tourism dollars as one solution for making the country less reliant on manufacturing. Tell us in your own words why people should come to Sanya for a holiday.
这里这个处于北纬18度，与美国夏威夷同在一个纬度上。当年美国夏威夷的一个州长来三亚考察时曾经说过，三亚呢不是夏威夷，胜似夏威夷。
China is a very, very strong market, and if you think about it, the national GDP grows by about 7–8%, and the middle class also grows, therefore, by 7–8%. So that's about 6 or 7 or 8 million people. So you have basically the population of a smaller European country like my own, Austria, added to the middle class every year. If there is enough flight seats available, if there is enough transportation opportunities to get here, enough international tourism will also start to come here.
But the plain and simple truth is, those droves of overseas visitors haven't landed yet. In 2015, international tourist numbers in China fell by 1.4% to 26 million. And while Hainan's domestic tourism has more than doubled in the past decade, in the same period, foreign visitor numbers have fallen from 1 million per year to 650,000. But in Hainan's famed beach city Sanya, there's a new push to help inbound tourism take off. The better part of the more than 15 million visitors that travel to Sanya every year come through this local airport, which between 2014 and 2015 went from the 19th busiest to the 18th busiest in all of China. Local authorities are pumping millions into subsidising airlines in the hopes of opening more international routes, which in turn they hope will encourage more international tourism. It's just one of many steps being taken.
境外旅客购物离境对策政策2011年开始实施。
All signs point towards the efforts being made to attract more international visitors. Nationals from 26 countries can now get a visa on arrival, but only if they are attached to an organised tour group. The question is, are these changes enough to make Hainan the Hawaii of the South China Sea?
I think it's achievable. Yeah, because all around in Asia is rich people and they want to spend the money. Yeah, besides gambling in Macau or shopping in Hong Kong, this is another relaxing place.
But this expat says flying here from outside of Asia often means an overnight stopover, and that's keeping foreigners away.
But I cannot say it's very convenient, really, because people have to stay overnight somewhere, and like there are some routes to Russia, and like Sanya, Shanghai, Moscow. It's also not convenient.
But local authorities say tourism is being put on the fast track by another mode of transport, high-speed rail.
这个车站的特点呢，就是和凤凰机场离得非常近，实现这个高速铁路、汽车和飞机的一个衔接。
We're currently travelling on the world's first high-speed loop rail network, almost 650 kilometres of track that circles the island of Hainan. For just over $30 tourists like these can loop Hainan, an area roughly the size of Belgium, in just 5 hours.
Sanya, nous on a fait surtout les plages la journée et le soir on allait en boîte tout le temps, la boîte de nuit, le M2 qui est pas mal d'ailleurs. Et aujourd'hui on est parti à la gare pour trouver, mais il y avait tellement de personnes, on devait faire la queue, etc. Et au bout d'une heure, on a réussi à acheter les billets. Après on devait faire encore la queue. Vraiment ce train il est bien, mais il y a beaucoup de monde pour trouver la place. Ça voilà, c'est super génial.
The train is capable of speeds of up to 250 kilometres per hour, and it's proving a big hit with the throng of domestic tourists, an annual wave of visitors roughly equivalent to double the entire population of Australia. But only about 1.4% of those coming here every year are from overseas. Billions have been spent modernising customs and quarantine facilities in the province, but there aren't many passports from far-off places being presented here. In reality, the plan to make Hainan a world-class tourism destination, launched by China in 2009, has yet to get significant numbers of foreign feet on the ground. What is Sanya doing to attract more international tourists?
三亚呢，目前拥有便捷的通关政策，而且现在我们三亚有26个国家免签制度，应该说到三亚来，这种免签政策，能够非常便捷的从世界各地来到三亚。旅游业的发展重点通过"一带一路"的政策发展邮轮产业。
But it's not all smooth sailing. Cruise tourism is seen as a big opportunity to boost international visitors, but ship arrival numbers sank from more than 200 in 2014 to just 64 in 2015, and many ships that did dock were below capacity.
First time to China, first time to Sanya. Whereabouts are you guys from?
We are from India.
Yep.
Yeah, we are from Chennai.
Have you seen many other foreigners?
Yeah, no, only Asians. We've seen only Asians.
Deterred, so industry insiders believe, by concerns over tensions in the South China Sea, EU and US passenger numbers dropped by 50% in 2015. But the industry is setting a course for recovery, and it's hoped more than 100 passenger ships will dock in Hainan this year. A straw poll of recent arrivals suggests the industry is coming about and no longer taking on water.
从香港上来。从香港上来的。我是香港人。香港人。你觉得这几天玩的怎么样？在船上。船上设备还可以的。我是第3次坐这个邮轮了。
We have a capacity of 2,300 passengers. In this moment, we have all Chinese guests. They love a lot to eat a different style. We have the suggestion about the food that we have food Asian style and food Italian style.
But on the island itself, it's mostly about food local style. Supersized on the influx of the tourism boom, Hainan's restaurant and catering industry turned over about $3.5 billion in 2015, an almost 20% increase in business compared with the previous year. In this kitchen, the heat is well and truly on to satisfy the culinary curiosity of Hainan's hungry visitors.
Smells good. Yeah. Food is central to the Chinese tourist experience, and this restaurant in Nansha serves 4,000 people a day with unique local dishes and cuisine. Many of them choose to take cooking classes so they can take their little taste of Hainan back home.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Choose the wrong eatery in Hainan and the meal can go from pricey to criminally expensive, courtesy of a number of restaurant scams. But with frustration boiling over on Chinese social media, authorities have vowed to serve up harsher penalties. In Hainan, it's last supper time for shysters.
Hainan has become the beach destination in China, and the number of domestic tourists coming here every year continues to rise. But so does the price of everything, in particular accommodation. As a result, even the relative handful of international tourists visiting here are in danger of slipping through Hainan's fingers.
In some ways, Hainan has become a victim of its own success, making it hard for it to compete with cheaper tourism destinations in Southeast Asia. During peak periods, a week in a hotel room here can cost upwards of $8,000, just shy of the average yearly wage in China. Even a week of basic accommodation costs roughly double the average monthly wage in Beijing. The domestic tourists keep coming, but what do they think of the price?
最少2000块钱都找不到这个酒店的啊，反正就是反正吃啊玩啊，你就更不用提了吧，就是总之一个字就是贵。
我们6天的行程预算应该是在3万到5万，
不太存在说这个欺诈行为，那价格高是确实是的。
它每年就是春节的时候价格稍微高一点，
是为了玩嘛，有时候也辛辛苦苦一年了，到这儿来一趟也不容易，尤其带着孩子，那么当然还是有必要去选择的。
Hainan has more to offer beyond its beaches, untamed and in places still untouched. This is China's largest mangrove forest. Located just outside of Haikou, it's made up of more than 3,000 hectares of sprawling wetlands, and it's a world-renowned biological hotspot. It's been protected since the early 1980s. It's called the Red Forest, but experts like Sheng Wei say there's a delicate balance to be maintained here between ecology and the tourism economy that keeps developers at bay. Sheng Wei, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
我是海南东寨港国家级自然保护区的工作人员沈伟。
Sheng Wei, tell us a little bit about how you maintain the balance between the tourism industry that keeps this mangrove forest protected and the environmental impact that comes with having tens of millions of tourists come here every year.
对的，是保护跟发展本来就是存在的好多的那个矛盾。游客来了，就是这个对一些生活垃圾啊、噪音啊，肯定对保护是有一些影响的。但是我们拿一小块出来的话，可以适当的增加当地一些农民的一些收入，然后就是也缓解了我们保护的这个压力。
Hainan's ambition to snap up a greater share of the international tourism market is far from being realised, but with its ever-growing popularity with domestic tourists, it's unlikely this island will ever be a deserted one.